thanks for inviting me. I'm Sina. I'm an IT security consultant and researcher for more than 10 years now. I have working in different fields like fintech, telecommunication, and recently I moved to healthcare and digital health. And I have published my research in Black Hat even in the previous years. This year, the talk I had was about the DICOM protocol, and this protocol is used for medical imaging. By medical imaging, I mean, like, for example, CT scan, MRI, X-ray, these are medical imaging. And DICOM is the standard that defines...
A bit closer, just in case. Okay.
And DICOM is the standard that defines how those images should be digitally structured, stored, and it also has a network protocol that defines how those images can be transmitted over a network. This is DICOM in a very short explanation. It's been around for more than 30 years now. It's a legacy protocol, and it has been doing a great job. But in recent years that we have started digitalizing and modernizing the healthcare like other industries, we started using the DICOM on the internet, moving into the cloud more publicly. But DICOM was originally designed and created for isolated network. So it doesn't have sufficient security for internet and cloud. But now it's used on the cloud without proper security upgrading. And that's the reason why we have this information leakage and this shift towards this digitalization and modernization that is started by big hospitals, big players in this industry.
Okay.
Also pressured the smaller businesses like a small medical imaging that they just have, for example, one MRI device to catch up with this trend because they don't want to be out of the business. But usually they don't have sufficient resources, budget, and knowledge to maintain a complex and secure network. So they just caught up with this new trend with whatever they had, which was mainly just a DSL connection and a very simple IT infrastructure. So they just expose their DICOM infrastructure to the internet with the simple DSL connection they have in their office without any security, without any protection.
Okay.
And now we have this enormous number of records, personal and health information on the internet. Long back, because they had them stored. It was digitalized, it was not on the internet. So maybe someone did, I don't know, an MRI 6 years ago. They had these records stored because they keep the data, they have data retention, of course, but for a long time they keep it. Now they put it on the internet.
Yes, okay.
So it goes way back. It's not just recent years, a couple of years back that these systems innovated, but now it's accessible on the internet without any protection. What we did this year, because there has been other news and research on DICOM for a couple of years, they reported this leakage. And we were interested to know, first of all, okay, what's the information that is leaked, how big it is, because other researchers didn't really publish very detailed reports. And we were also interested to know, okay, after all these news and research, now in 2023, is it someone did something, if it's fixed or not? So we studied the whole protocol to find the attacks, and for more than 6 months, we scanned the whole internet from different countries, different providers, different methods. And finally, we removed whatever was not relevant because there are some honeypots, there are some staging and demo environments belonging to the vendor, and even these technologies and protocol used for animals. So many of the records on the internet belong to cats and dogs.
Okay.
We removed them. We saw that more than 59 millions of real records with sensitive information are accessible from more than 111 countries, everywhere almost. On top of them in the United States, with more than 18 millions of records. But it's not all because of United States. Why? Because the big cloud providers like Google, Azure, AWS, they don't have servers in all countries. They're mainly in Europe, and majority of them have better services in the United States.
Okay.
So if, for example, a hospital in Asia wanted to move their DICOM infrastructure to the cloud with one of those big vendors, they just went with the first option, located their servers in United States. And that's the reason why we have such a big number from United States. It's not all from US citizens, but servers are hosted in United States, which is actually against of many data protection laws, because such sensitive information should not leave the country in such a scale.
Okay.
This is what we did, what we covered in our research this year. Also, we studied the protocol to see, okay, if you have access to data, what you can do. And for the first time, we found an issue in the DICOM protocol that allows you to tamper with the existing data, which should not be allowed. So if you know a result of a medical imaging is on a server on the internet and you can access it, you can even tamper it and change the data. Either you can destroy it effectively by injecting a lot of random data into that, or because you can say, I want to inject this picture between these two pictures, the original pictures. So you can even inject the signs of illnesses in those medical imaging.
Okay.
The first and most important thing is that they should not expose their DICOM infrastructure to the internet. There is no reason why such sensitive component and sensitive information should be accessible on the internet without any protection, without any control, without anything, just out there. It must not happen. If they want to use, for example, cloud services, which is actually very good, if they use it correctly, or if their DICOM is hosted somewhere remotely, they should have a secure channel between their internal network and that remote site. Besides of that, it should not be exposed. Nobody else should be able to access the DICOM outside of that. Inside your network, they should have a very good segmentation and segregation. Make sure only authorized devices and user can access the DICOM server under controlled firewalls. Also, for user access, for human access, they can use DICOM Web. It's an extension to this protocol that offers a REST API. And almost all the modern DICOM viewers support it, so they are not going to have any problem. The advantage is that you can control HTTP and a REST API much more and effectively than the DICOM itself. You can have a WAF that there are many open source and commercial tools, different varieties, to have TLS, to have access control, to protect against implementation vulnerabilities. And you can also use it to integrate it with your IAM system and make sure only authorized doctors, nurse, or medical staff can access this. If they need to give remote access to the people that are not working in that hospital, for example, they can expose it via DICOM web, sorry. And they can have rate limiting for that to mitigate some issues, because inside the hospital, rate limiting might not be feasible because it may cause fatal errors. You have emergency room, you have surgery room. They need real-time data and examination. But if a doctor 10 days later after examination wants to see a result, they can tolerate some delays. It's not very urgent. Also, they can limit the access to their DICOM web on the internet only to their country. They don't need to open it to the whole internet, so they can have regional source IP whitelisting. And if there are corner cases, they can communicate. They can give them exceptional access or any other channel of communication. It's still much better than opening it to the whole internet and having it open to everyone. This is what they can do actually to harden their system. In United States, I assume the situation is better because they have HIPAA and it's mandatory for vendors, for hospitals. But for example, in Europe and other countries, we don't have anything mandatory. We have frameworks, guidelines, but they're all optional. So there is no actual regulation. I think this is what we need in other countries, like how the US is doing it. And when it comes to consent, or for example, signing a paper when you go to a hospital or something like that, I believe it actually happens right now that when you go to a hospital for some services, they give you a form, you sign it, and you give them your permission to store your data. But it's a different situation. For example, if you wanna, I don't know, if it's your email provider, if it's your credit card provider, you can do a good research in an afternoon and decide you wanna go with this provider. But for healthcare situation, imagine your hand is broken, you just go to a hospital, you wanna get it done, you're in pain, you don't think of anything. No cybersecurity where my data is stored, whatever form they put in front of you, you just sign it because you want to get rid of that pain and situation as fast as possible. And I think this is the problem because we don't use those services when we have time and we can make informed decisions. Sometimes, yes, when you do checkup or something like that, but in many cases, it's just emergency. You're in a very uncomfortable, painful situation. You form any sign. You sign any form to just get it done.
You don't read it, yes.
Exactly. And 2 years later, your data is on the internet. This is how it usually happens. Many, I mean, you just need Google DICOM leakage. There are many. In at least what I found so far, none of them mention the name of the vendor or hospital. They all talk about the protocol, but it's the standard protocol for medical imaging. All the vendors, countries, hospitals working in this industry, they use the same protocol. It depends how they use it, but if they're not aware about security and how to use it, probably they have this leakage. Let's see, so we are doing research in the healthcare for security and different protocols like FHIR, like HL7, that now they're getting more popular, getting more used by different hospitals. Hopefully we're going to have another research published end of next year, but we will see. Just about the research, what I can say, because for protection, what we discussed is about hospitals and vendors, but how to fix it correctly, it's actually on the standard bodies and the industry bodies and the standard organization, because they need to regulate this ecosystem and have an effective governance to make sure everybody is following the security guidelines. They have sensitive data, sensitive infrastructure, and right now all the security measures in the specification, it's optional. So vendor says, why should we do that? There is no punishment if we don't have it, and there is no benefit if we have it. They don't do it, clients don't have any options, and auditors also know about the situation, so they cannot do anything about it. There should be an effective governance. It takes time, like what we had in telecommunication, for example. Right now, you don't see 2G anywhere, right? But 15 years ago, it was the only option. It was full of vulnerabilities. 3GPP, other standard bodies in the telecommunication started enforcing this change to upgrade. And now 2023, we have only 4G and 5G with good security and better services. It took more than 10 years, but they started and now we have it. If we never start fixing these problems, medical imaging, we will never have it secure. And actually it's getting more complex and harder to solve because more vendors are coming, more technologies, more products, more hospitals start using cloud or something like that. And more records are being accessible every day on the internet. So we must start doing it immediately. And with having that in mind that it takes time, it's not going to be fixed end of the month. Takes time, governance, effort, but it will work as we saw in other industries that we overcame the similar challenges over the time with governance, and there's going to be a result for that. This is what should happen.